Hello chess crowd and welcome to another video from our playlist The Best Chess Players in the World. And today we'll be talking about Rudolf Spielman. Yes, if you have never heard of him, you certainly will very soon, or maybe now. Rudolf Spielman was born in Vienna, Austria in 1883 and he died in 1942 at the age of 59. Rudolf Spielman was a chess master known for his great attacking skills. And he's one of the few players in that time that could defeat the world champion Raul Capablanca on multiple occasions, eventually having an even score of 2 wins, 2 losses and 8 draws. In 1935, Spielman wrote a book called The Art of Sacrifice in Chess. So as you might expect for someone who wrote a book with such a title, Spielman was a relentless attacking player. He was the only master in that time to still play the King's Gambit, and he won a tournament themed with the King's Gambit opening, and he was known for finding checkmate sequences out of nowhere. We're gonna see an example of this right now. In this position, Rudolf Spielman is playing with the white pieces against Rudolf Lermé, and we can see that Spielman is bringing his pieces to the attack on the king side. There is a rook nicely placed on g1, preparing to push g4, and black pieces are also well prepared to start an attack on the queen side. Maybe c4 is coming, maybe queen c5 is coming. So we have a very nice position here. Rudolf Spielman plays here g4, and Lermé replies with c4, now attacking the bishop. And here, if you capture the pawn, then black will be able to exchange some pieces and everything will be okay. So that's why Rudolf Spielman continues with g5. Very interesting. Knight to d7 was played by his opponent. Now that's very interesting position because the pawn is pinned. I mean, you cannot capture here on h6 because then you're hanging your queen, and the bishop here is attacked on the e5. So the next move is really shocking, and Rudolf Spielman continues with queen takes h6, a shocking move here in this position. Black cannot capture the bishop. Now, of course, queen takes g7 is a threat, but black can not even play knight takes e5 here because of queen to h7 check, followed by queen h8 checkmate. So here his opponent plays g takes h6, so the queen is captured, and now he follows with g takes h6 check, and no move here is possible unless king to f8, which was played in game, and now the next move finishes the game immediately. If you want to pause the game now and try to find the next move from Spielman, it's worth it, and I'll give you a couple of seconds if you want. It's a very interesting position. And I just hope you have found the only winning move here in this position, which is rook to g8. It's fantastic continuation from Rudolf Spielman. Here bishop g7 does not lead to a forced attack or mating attack or nothing like that. And h7 will be met by queen h4, and black is okay, black is fine, can equalize the game. So rook g8 is the winning move here, and here his opponent resigned the game due to the following continuations. King takes g8, pawn h7 check, king to f8, and pawn promoting to queen, or even rook here is checkmate. Even rook here is checkmate, and you finish the game. Unfortunately, Spielman died tragically during World War II, and Spielman would surely have been named a Grandmaster by FIDE had he been alive when the title was created in 1915. For sure he would have been named a Grandmaster. A man who can be even in the score against Raul Capablanca is surely a great player. And let's see the game which is considered the best game in his career. Let's go. Rudolf Spielman is playing with the black pieces here against Raul Capablanca, the world champion. Here Raul Capablanca starts the game with d4, and then we have d5 here, c4 the Queen's Gambit, and c6 the Slav defense. Knight to c3, knight f6, knight f3, and d takes c4. Spielman says, come on, give me this pawn, and Raul Capablanca plays now e3, I want my pawn back. And Spielman says, no, you will never see your pawn back. b5, holding the pawn, but now a4, now attacking on the queen's side. b4 attacking the knight, knight a2, and there is no way. Now the pawn on b4 is attacked, the pawn on c4 is attacked. One time you have to give back the pawn. You will have to give back the pawn. So Spielman decides to give back the pawn on c4 and plays e6. Now the bishop is guarding the pawn on b4. Bishop takes c4 was played, getting the pawn back. But now bishop e7 continues developing. Castle, castle, and now b3, developing, preparing to develop the dark square bishop. And now c5, trying to exchange probably non-central pawn for a central pawn. Bishop b2 is played, bishop to b7, knight to c1, and now knight to c6, putting more pressure on the center, and now d takes c5. And here Spielman goes for an intermediate move, very interesting idea, with knight a5, not immediately recapturing pawn, but now attacking the bishop. This bishop pair is really strong, so now Spielman put his efforts to capture one of those two bishops. Of course, here José Raul Capablanca could have moved back his bishop to e2, but he decided to play knight e5, now protecting the bishop. We have knight to c4, knight takes c4, and bishop takes e5, getting the pawn back. The game continues with knight d3, attacking the bishop, putting pressure on the pawn on b4, and now queen d5, a very brave move here. Now not only defending the bishop, but also threatening checkmate. So Spielman is he's looking for checkmate all the time in the game, which is the correct thing to do. And so now queen d5, threatening checkmate. Knight f4 was played, attacking queen and defending on g2. Queen g5, keeping the pressure here on g2. But now bishop takes f6. And here Rudolf Spielman could have recaptured with the pawn, with ideas of keeping the pressure here on g2, but he prefers not to damage pawn structure here. So he plays queen takes f6, we have rook to c1, now threatening some discover attacks here, and rook f d8, attacking the queen. Queen h5, now it's not threatening h7, it's really, if you're starting to play chess now, you gotta understand that sometimes your opponent make a move like that, and you put all your focus here on this king side, but now the real threat is on the queen side. The queen is attacking the bishop, so that's why Rudolf Spielman continues with rook a to c8, and now rook f to d1. g6 attacking the queen, rook takes d8, this comes with a check, and now I have to choose between capturing back with the rook or with the queen. Of course here Rudolf Spielman captures with the queen because he needs to keep protecting his bishop. Now queen takes d8 was played, the bishop is protected and the queen is attacked, so the queen has to move. Queen to e5 was played, and bishop to e7 by Rudolf Spielman, leaving the c5 square for the rook and also handling the bishop to the square of f6. h3 was played, prophylactic move, avoiding any kind of checkmate here in the back rank, and rook to c5 was played, attacking the queen. Queen to a1, what is the queen doing there? Bishop to f6, attacking the queen, but now the queen is giving support for the rook. And Capablanca plays rook to d1, attacking the queen. Rook to d5, almost forcing, because now Rudolf Spielman is threatening both the rook and the queen, so the reply is kind of forced. Rook takes d5, e takes d5, and now Capablanca is in serious trouble, because his knight is attacked, his queen is attacked. Can he survive this? Well, he continues with knight to e5, but now queen d6, putting more pressure. Now the knight is attacked twice, knight f to d3, but now bishop a6. What a move here from Spielman. José Raul Capablanca is seriously overloaded here in this position. So the queen, this knight is unprotected. If you remove this knight, then you are hanging the knight here on e5. If you try to protect this knight on e3, then you are hanging the knight on e5. And the threat is to capture the knight on d3, and the knight cannot recapture because the queen is hanging. So it's all over for José Raul Capablanca, but he continues still with an interesting idea. He plays queen to e1, and after bishop takes e5, knight takes e5, and queen takes e5, at least José Raul Capablanca can capture a pawn here on b4, and maybe he can convert this pawn majority on the queen side for a passed pawn. Let's see this game continuing then. Queen takes b4, bishop to d3, and queen takes e5, and the question is, can Spielman be capable of beating José Raul Capablanca in a position like that? Of course, black has an advantage here, but the position is really dangerous. You need to play with caution. Queen to b8 was played, protecting the pawn here on a7. This is top priority here, because if this pawn is captured, then white will have two connected and passed pawns on the queen side, which is truly dangerous. So the game continues with b4, and now queen to b7, protecting both pawns. Of course, Jose Raul Capablanca could have captured here the pawn on d5 instead of playing b4. But then, after queen capture, bishop takes c2, and Rudolf Spielman will capture one of these two pawns for sure. So that's why b4 was played, and now queen b7, protecting both pawns. b5, then h5. We have queen to c3, bishop to c4, and now e4. Jose Raul Capablanca is still trying to play. Maybe he can decoy the pawn on the defense of the bishop, but of course here Spielman is paying attention on everything. He continues with queen to e7, now pawn takes d5, bishop takes d5, a5, advancing with the pawns. But as we said, Rudolf Spielman is always looking for ways to checkmate. He plays queen to e4, and in this position Jose Raul Capablanca resigns the game. And why did he resign? Well, he resigned because there's nothing else to do here. He's threatening checkmate here on g2, and of course you can defend this checkmate by playing f3, but then queen to b1 check followed by queen takes b5 is just hopeless for white, because then black will have not the problem anymore of those two pawns against only one, and this will be a winning endgame for black. Oh, come on, I'm not convinced. Like those arguments were not good. I'm not convinced. You will have to play against the Stockfish to show me that this final is winning for black. Okay, I will play against the Stockfish, but first let's check the report on chess.com for the stats. Let's go. 99.2% precision here for Rudolf Spielman. The perfect game here. No inaccuracy, no mistake, no blunder, no miss to win, anything like that. 28 best moves against 22 best moves from Jose Raul Capablanca. That's the only way to beat the world champion Jose Raul Capablanca. You have to play like a machine, and Rudolf Spielman just did that. And it's even difficult to find where Jose Raul Capablanca lost the grip in the game, because as you can see in the graph, it was always small achievements, small improvements, and then Rudolf Spielman was winning the game. And that's it. No, Rafa, we didn't forget. You will have to play against the Stockfish and show us why this endgame is winning for black. Okay, let's do that. I'm clicking here, practice against computer. And okay, let's just change the... Let's just flip the board. Where do I go? Switch sides. Yes, okay, here we go. Let's go here. Okay, we saw that queen takes on b5, check. Now let's just put the king here into safety, because the bishop is already guarding here on f7. We don't have to care about the king being protecting this pawn, so we can just move the king away from this dark square diagonal where we would have some checks. So king to h7 seems reasonable, and now we can offer the exchange here for the queens. Okay, he accepted, and then this endgame is trivial to win. Let's just bring the king. Let's bring the king to the game. Let's play ace6 here just to be safe. Okay, he's offering the trade of pawns. Let's just play the bishop here on e2. And okay, let's just move the king. Is it okay to move the king? He's gonna capture, and king to g5. No, then I capture here on f3. That's okay to move the king. Okay, no problem at all. Now he's attacking my bishop. I can capture here, capture, and then goes here, and then goes here. Should be winning. Should be winning. Yes, it is winning. It is winning. Now, okay, we will promote first and guard the promotion square. No problem at all. No problem at all. Check. Now we can move the other pawn. Okay, let's just capture this pawn. And to be on the safe side, let's just capture pawn with the queen and bring another queen. And it should be all over soon. I could have... Okay. Okay. Here we got it. Okay, that's it. That's why Jose Raul Capablanca resigned the game, a completely winning end game here for Spielman. That's it. That's Rudolf Spielman. I hope you have enjoyed getting to know more about him in this playlist, the best chess players in the world. And that's it, folks. Thank you so much for your audience, and see you next video.